Are you ready to remodel your closet? Maybe add some wallpaper, maybe add some nice shelves, maybe add a nice rug. Well, here's the video for you. How's it going, guys? My name is Sean. Welcome to Boundaries Unlimited. In today's video, I'm going to take you along with me as I remodel my master bedroom closet and turn it from this to this for all under $700. In this video, I'm going to take you through the wallpapering process. I'm going to show you how I designed and built my own custom shelving units. Not only will remodeling your master bedroom closet allow you to add your own personal touch to your home, it will also increase your home's value. And by doing it yourself, you will also save a lot of money along the way. You might have a headache after the whole project's done, but you'll be glad to know that you were the one that created this. So enough talk, let's go ahead and get started. When we first bought this house, the master bedroom closets were very small to begin with. Let me go show you my closet real quick. So if you look in here how small it is, I mean, I'm standing right here, and to be able to get to the back of my closet, I almost have to shut the door just to get to the back of it. We have these real cheap poles right here that if you put too much weight on one side, it's very flimsy. We have one shelf. It's not a very usable closet for a master bedroom closet. It's very small. House was built in the 2000s, so maybe that had some effect to it. So our plan today is to redo all the master bedroom closets. First thing we're going to do is tear down the existing shelves. After that, we're going to go ahead and put some wallpaper on. This is the one Ksenia chose for mine. She liked it, so I said it was free, so I couldn't complain. I could care less about doing the wallpaper, but Ksenia really fell in love with the wallpaper after we did our other bathroom, and here's the clip right here. So after we did that, we're going to do some wallpaper, and then after we do the wallpaper, we're going to build some custom shelving. And I'm not the best DIYer, you know, I'm not a professional, so there's probably better ways to do it, but this is going to be my way. Everything is completely cleared out. Old shelving is out. Next plan is to do, we'll put some DAP to fill in some of the holes where some of the screws were at. Sand it all smooth. Pretty much prep the walls. So the next part of the process is going to be the wallpaper process. That's why we can make this a little bit prettier. So what we're going to do first, you almost have to paint on the adhesive. Different types of wallpaper require different ways to actually apply the wallpaper to the wall. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to paint on the adhesive first onto the wall. So we're just going to buy some cheap disposable wall rollers like you paint a house with, $10 from Lowe's. We're going to paint on the wall. We're going to find, basically we're just going to start from anywhere. The next part, when you run the next roll, you're actually going to have to find where the different parts of the wallpaper connect the pattern. So we're going to leave a little bit extra on the top and the bottom. Alright, so here's the supplies you're going to need for the wallpaper process. 1, the wallpaper. 2, we just got a paint tray set from Lowe's. It's $10. We figured we'll just throw it away after we paint the adhesive on. $10 from Lowe's. These guys are smoothing tools to get all the air bubbles out of the wallpaper. $2 a piece. Here's some adhesive. I want to say this was about $24 from Lowe's. That should be enough for closet. Also, this tool right here is a guide for when we cut the wallpaper. And you also need a box knife, preferably one with a long knife. First, let's go ahead and get some adhesive on the wall. Pretty much use the tools I described just a second ago. Here's my cheap Lowe's roller right here, paint roller. And this is one job that less is not more. You want to use it as much as you can. You can always clean that adhesive off the wall if you put too much. It's almost like an Elmer's glue. I really take the adhesive on the wall, really paint it on there. And if you put too much, it will collect underneath the wallpaper, which will look like an air bubble, and it's actually just adhesive. And just make sure you use the flat edge to push all that excess adhesive out. That way the wallpaper sits on the wall nicely. You will get messy. Make sure you get it wide enough when you lay your roll of wallpaper. If you don't do it wide enough, well, it won't stick to the wallpaper where you need it to. Again, disclaimer, I am no wallpaper expert. I've only done wallpaper in one room. So, I'm no expert. You can just watch me for entertainment. I might not be that very entertaining either, so I don't know why you're on here in the first place. Alright, so you can either do this two ways. You can measure it out, or you can put the roll on the ground and basically just run it up this way. If you measure it out, just measure the wall from ceiling to where the crown molding starts at the bottom. Or not crown molding, but molding. And then add maybe about 5 to 6 inches, so that way you have extra to cut off. And basically you just run it up. Make sure you have some excess, like I said. And like I said, you can move it around and you should be able to peel it back just fine. And we'll get that against the wall and we'll measure the edge and we'll make sure it's straight up and down. That's how we'll do it. Alright, so here's strip number 1 completed. Well, not completed yet, we're still getting all the air pockets out. So after you put it on there, use your level right here, go up against the ceiling where you have excess, and you just run the sharp box knife underneath it. Same thing with the bottom part, where your trim starts, the base grooves. And as you can see, like any imperfections, you might see a little bit, because we didn't completely smooth everything out, but honestly, it's not that noticeable, and I'm going to put shelving in front of it, so I'm not really too concerned at all. So the next thing is going to be the next challenge, because this wallpaper doesn't have much of a pattern to it, but some wallpaper actually has a pattern. This pattern, as you can see right here, will run in right here. As you can see, this edge will run that way. So we have to, when we put the next layer up, we'll have to match that pattern so they all run together. Alright, so again, I just left the roll at the floor and was able to roll it up. I will say on our last wallpaper that we did in the bathroom, I was not able to do this, so it might depend on what type of wallpaper you get. So depending on where your pattern starts will indicate when you can start it. So I'm going to have to run this one quite a bit up to get that same pattern to start, which starts, I get some glue on my fingers. It's okay. It'll clean off. You'll have to go back and wash the wallpaper afterwards with water, like a little sponge. And see, if you look right here, I'm not overlapping the edges, but I'm trying to just run the pattern together. See, this pattern starts right here, and well, I'll have to adjust it, which is fine. But yeah, you don't want them to overlap. You just want them to butt up side to side, but you want to get the pattern to match all throughout. And then, like I said, you have excess, and see how it matches up top right here. And we'll use our level guide in a second to cut the top excess out. We'll match all the pattern, get all the air bubbles out, and then we'll just basically run the wall the same way. And there you go. Alright, so here's the final product of the wallpaper. And we just decided to do an accent wall going on this side with the white, maybe add a little bit more light. It's pretty good in my opinion. Not bad. Alright, first a little update on building the shelves. So what I did was I built 2 frames. Basically it looks like 2 separate ladders, as you can see right here. So this is its own, and this is its own as well too. So this is going to be the main shelf of whole entire closet shelves. And this is just the frame of it, and we'll go ahead and put plywood on top and we'll make it look complete after we build the whole entire frame for it. But basically I just took some cheap wood. These are about $3 a piece at Lowe's, and I think when I said they're about 100 inches. So I was able to just cut them to the pieces I wanted, make the frame. And what I ended up doing was about 1 foot for the shelves in length. So the next step I'm going to do is actually build the shelves coming down almost all the way into the floor. And I'm going to make them 12 inches high and about 30 inches wide each. I'm going to do 6 total shelves going down that way. Enough talk, let's get back to cutting. So I just finished up another, I guess you could call a ladder, even though it's not really a ladder. This is how I'm going to do my shelving along with everything else. So this is basically the basic setup of how I built the frame of the rest of the whole closet shelves at this point. So what I plan to do is run this from the top portion on the side, and I'm just going to run it into the wall to create a shelf. I was going to do 6 shelves originally, 12 inches spaced apart. That's what I did for reference. I brought one of my biggest boot, my tallest boot, and I know there will be a little bit of plywood, 1/2 inch plywood right there. So even with that amount of spacing, my tallest boot still fits on the shelf. But what I decided to do at the very last minute was on the very top shelf, it would be double the size, just in case I want to fit anything really tall up there. Here's going to be the frame for the shelf. So here's the bottom shelf, and I spaced them out by 12 inches each where that support beam's at. And here's going to be the really tall shelf right here. And what I'm going to do from here on out is, after I get the thin sheet of plywood that'll cover that up right there, I'm going to put maybe a 2x6. I haven't decided how I'm going to do my support for the hole is going to be at yet, but it's going to go right here all the way to that wall right there. And I'm going to run another one down right here for just a long one for, like I said, suits, long jackets, or anything of such. All right, well, next thing I need to do is go build some more of these shelf supports. All right, let's go cut them up. Let's go ahead and show you guys what I did today. So I just finished up all the framing portion of the shelves. It looks like just a bunch of ladders put together. I don't know if I made a jungle gym for a child or I built a shelf for a closet. But I'll go ahead and tell you, break down exactly what I did. So as you saw before, I broke it down. It's basically just a ladder on top of a ladder on top of a ladder. I'm gonna call this the ladder closet design. Super easy. So here's all my shelves right here, 5 shelves. They're all measured out to about 1 foot height and 2 feet wide. So I can fit about 2 sets of boots, shoes, you name it. And this one is 2 feet tall, 2 feet wide, in case I get some hooker boots. And up top, you have storage for whatever you need up there. You also have the second shelf right here, and what I plan to do is I'm going to put a rod right here that's going to hold my t-shirts, or shirts, button-down shirts, you name it, and it goes all the way to the wall right here. And this one right here is actually going to be another rod that's going to hold my jeans, shorts, you name it. And then right over here is going to be another rod, and this is a full-length rod. So basically you can put your suit, like I was saying, long jacket, you name it. You can put luggage bags right here. I mean, it sets you up. You can do a lot of things with that. I thought about adding more shelves in this portion right here, but for me personally, I don't have that many things, don't have that many clothes and shoes. And this room is kind of small to begin with, so I didn't want to clutter it up too much. So I think this is an optimal shelving design that I made in here. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and start building the shelves. So what I have here is what I'm going to make the shelves out of. I was actually going to go ahead and get 3/4 of an inch plywood for the upper part of the shelves, but when I went to the store, conveniently enough, since the shelf depth is 12 inches, I went ahead and found 12-inch width boards, and that are 12 feet long. I bought 4 of them. It was just much more convenient than having to cut all the plywood, the upper plywood, to 12-inch width. So I went ahead and bought 4 of those. And I also bought sheets of plywood that are 1/4 of an inch. And that's going to go on the bottom of the shelf and also on the sides of the shelf as well too. That way it has more of a close-up look to it. All right, so it looks no longer like a jungle gym. I don't have the top shelves bolted in just yet. They're just sitting on here for now. These are a little bowed, the wood is, but once I get bolted in, it'll be okay. But here's with the top shelves just sitting on there, test fitted. As you can see over here, the shelving portion as well too, and that bottom shelf Next thing we're gonna do is actually cut the 1/4 of an inch plywood underneath it to fill it in. So actually, I've already done that portion. I filmed this after I already started cutting the next part. So I'll go ahead and show you how it'll kind of look sandwiched together. Okay, let's see if I can do this while recording. Okay, well that kind of gives you an idea. So it'll be underneath just like that, and then we'll sandwich on the end of it. We'll put like a nice trim on the edge so it'll look like one piece. So yeah, well, the issue I ran into is I had too long of screws. I have 2.5 inch screws. I need 2 inch screws so it doesn't come through the bottom portion. So that's why I just went ahead and started cutting the other bottom portion of the shelves, because I didn't want to run the lotion shit in case I need to get some other stuff. So yeah, that's the next step. We'll go and cut out all the bottom pieces of plywood, and then we'll run to Lowe's and get shorter screws, and we're coming along nicely. Alright, upper shelves are already cut and test fitted, and they look good. Next step, we're going to cut the bottom part of the shelf and also the sides. And like I said earlier, we're going to use a 1/4 of an inch plywood for that. So let's go ahead and get it marked up, test fit, and then go back to Lowe's again. Alright, so here's after I bolted in all the under portion of the shelf and also the side portions of the shelf. So now it's starting to look more like shelves. It's looking pretty good, I must say. Next step, what we're going to do is put a little bit of trim on front of this so it hides all the different pieces all together. And I'll show you guys what I use for that in the garage. Let's go out there and go check it out. So this is what I'm going to use on the face of the shelves. It's a 2.5 inch nice wood. Yeah, it'll look pretty good up front. So here's where we are at today. We're kind of all finished up for the day. 10 hours later, it's been a long day, but we did a lot of work and it looks really great. Honestly, I didn't expect it to look this good. I impressed myself, especially at the beginning of this whole thing. The DAP brand. So the good thing about this spackling is that it actually has a color indicator which tells you when it's ready to sand or not. So if it's still pink, that's how it is when you apply it. It means it's still drying. But basically I just put all the spackling on all the areas where I put bolts at, where I put screw holes in. And once it dries, we'll go ahead and sand it down. Maybe this step's a little bit overkill. It probably is for a closet. But only time will tell if I made myself more work than what I really need to do. Alright, before we get started sanding, I went in and threw a drop cloth down, so I'm going to go ahead and start painting and priming it soon. So I just figured I'd throw it down there now to help clean up some of the dust. So this is what I'm going to try out first. So I have an oscillating tool, and if you guys don't have one of these, highly recommend it. I mean, you can use this tool for anything. Cutting trim, I mean, there's different blades for all types of tool jobs. I mean, it's about $150, highly recommend. So they had a sanding tool. So I'm going to try this out first and see if it works pretty good. We'll see. You gonna help me? What'd you say, Appa? Speak! You gonna help me? You gonna help me sand, Appa? No? Is that what you said? If you do not have a DeWalt, or it doesn't even have to be DeWalt, but an oscillating tool in general, go out there, get on Amazon, go buy one, go to Lowe's, go to Home Depot, go buy one right now. If you gotta do any type of sanding jobs, this took 10 minutes. I went through and sanded everything. 10 minutes is all it took. I mean, I have a mess I need to clean up now, but it took 10 minutes. I mean, if I would have done this by hand, this would have took at least an hour, maybe 2 hours to get everything, and then my shoulder would be sore afterwards. This saves you so much time. An oscillating tool, it works for every single job, I promise you that. It's my #1 tool. I bought it, never thinking I was gonna use it, but it was actually a present from my father, and then I borrowed it from him, and I haven't gave it back to him yet because it's that good. I use it for everything. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and get cleaned up. Prep it for primer. Let's go ahead and put a little bit of primer on it, since it's raw wood, and then we'll get to the painting. So the most tedious portion of any project or painting job is the taping portion. It's all done, so I'm about to mix up some primer and get some primer on these shelves. Very tedious, but you must do it. Very crucial step. Here's the primer I'm using, some Zinsser, I guess. Okay, so what I did first was a technique called cutting. And basically what you do is you just take your brush, you go along the wall area where you want to be careful about. See why I said the taping is very important. And that way, it's kind of time consuming process, because especially going underneath these shelves. But what we'll do is after that, since we cut in, now we don't have to get as close to the wall going forward with the primer. So I'll just use a roller this go around, so it shouldn't take as long. So after we did the cut-in technique, I went ahead and used the roller to finish off everything, which actually was really quick, surprisingly, compared to the cut-in technique. The roller of choice I used today was a Purdy, it's called the Jumbo Mini Roller. This mini roller was really nice getting inside the shelves. Covered very nicely. So here's where we're at. Coat number 2 is done on the top coat. This is the final product. Looks really good. The paint of choice was some Sherwin-Williams Cashmere. This is actually some of the house paint that we use for the rest of the house. It's alabaster. So if you like this color of white, I mean the same colors, the rest of the house, alabaster white, very popular color. Quick tip, do not say the first time I went to order it, I thought it was alabaster white. So I was like, I'll take a gallon of alabaster white. Come to find out, it's alabaster. So, quick tip. Final step, we need to hang up some closet rods. So here's the flange kit that I bought from Lowe's. I already hung 2 of them at this time. I really like the look of the natural wood. I kind of kicked myself for actually painting the shelves because I kind of like the look of the wood. I wish I just would have stained them. So I went ahead and just got a wood rod. I thought it looks pretty good with the offset, the white. So here's the top 2 done. So I'm just going to show you guys what I did. So if you need a few tips if you're doing your own. So what I did was I grabbed one of my t-shirts. Button down t-shirts, whatever you want to call it. And I grabbed it before I set the flange set, and I made sure that I was far enough from the wall that I would not hit the wall with the hanger. And I also wanted to make sure it was tall enough. I got as tall as I could without rubbing on anything. So then I would have enough space underneath the shelf so I wouldn't rub on there. And my calculations were 10 inches from the wall is where I set that, and also the height on each side. And also I have a level as well too to make sure it's not gonna bug me looking at it. So yeah, I'm gonna go cut the final rod. I'm gonna go ahead and set the flange at the bottom set, and we'll be done. Here's the final product. Wow. It's so amazing, guys. This is one project that I honestly didn't really want to even do to the whole house. I just didn't feel like it was something that I wanted to do. I felt like it was a waste of time, waste of money, but this is one of the things that I needed that I didn't realize I needed. It's a really nice closet. Much more manageable than it was before. It looks really good. I'm really impressed with it. It's one of my favorite projects so far in this house, besides the dog shower. Still tons of space that I could put on this rod. All the space up top that I haven't even used. I can move some stuff around if I want to add more shoes. And it's kind of, I mean, there's a lot of shirts up there, but I could always move some stuff over to the other rod. Down here with pants, not a ton. One thing that I did add, I bought all wooden hangers off Amazon. I think it was about $80 in total for 60 of them. This is one thing, guys, do not sleep on this. This is one thing that will, honestly, depending on what your closet looks like now, it'll transform your closet just for about 80 bucks. It looks so good with the wooden hangers. All right, well, that's the final product. All right, now the job is finished. We can sit back, relax, and we can go ahead and calculate and see how much money we spent. Now, the total project ended up costing us $680. Now, that's a mixture between wallpaper supplies, wallpaper material, and then also all the shelving, the different types of nails and screws that we had to use, the paint, the primer, and just all the wood material that we needed to use. Now, $680 how much I ended up spending. Now, I didn't actually end up having to buy paint because I reused some of the paint that we used for the house, but I only used maybe half a gallon at most for the whole shelf. So if you were going to buy paint, if you didn't already have it, then it would probably end up costing you about $40 to $50 for a gallon of paint at most. Other ways you can cut the cost as well too. You don't have to do wallpaper. Wallpaper ended up costing us about $60 to $80 in total. Now, the wallpaper we used was on sale, so it ended up only costing us $40. But if it's full price, sometimes the wallpaper can get pretty expensive and end up costing you around $250 for a whole, enough for a closet room, depending on how big your closet is. For example, when we did the powder room earlier, it was about 4 rolls we ended up using, and it cost us around $220 in just wallpaper alone, not counting the adhesive, which isn't cheap. It's about $25 a gallon. So, like I said, $680 is what we ended up with. If you wanted to do it just with the wood, and maybe you painted the walls white and you painted the shelves, you could probably get away with spending around $600. That is assuming that you have all the tools to be able to do it. So if you don't have the tools and you have to buy a drill, you have to buy a saw of some sort, well then that's gonna add up costing you more. You don't need an oscillating tool. You probably need a DeWalt drill, some basic type of drill, and some way to cut things, maybe a skill saw. And my recommendation is, if you don't have those tools, maybe to rent one, but that would probably be the best way to do it. I really like the design of the whole entire closet. I'm glad the way it came out. It looks really good. Overall, I'm very impressed with it. I didn't think it would come out this well, so it exceeded my expectations. And for the price of $680, I think it was well worth it. I think when we go to sell this house in the future, people will walk in that closet. And before, it was a very small master bedroom closet, so that was the one thing that really hurt this house in value, I would say. I think people now will really not overlook it. It's gonna be kind of like a highlighted area of the house. It's still small for sure, but it's much more usable, and it adds a lot of character to the house. So, all right guys, well, go ahead and stay tuned for the next video. Like, subscribe for more, and see you in the next one.